Hey, and welcome to the Hero's Journey podcast, episode 8. Today I'm going to talk a bit about negative thought patterns. But before I do, I want to recommend a really good app. It's called Intellect, and it's a bit like a kind of diary and check-in app where you literally check in on your mental and emotional well-being. It's really good if you use it daily, because if you check in each day, and the check-ins are so easy, it's literally 3 questions like, how are you feeling today, what was your mood like, and I don't know, something else, and you literally just press the icon on an emoji scale. So if you're been feeling like shit, you press the saddest face emoji. If you've been feeling excellent, great, on top of the world, you obviously press the ecstatic emoji face. And over the course of 28 days or whatever, it will correlate all that information and give you a mood timeline, and it will say okay, for the last 3 or 4 weeks, your mood has been here, and it shows you a nice little graph to show you how up and down your feelings and emotions have been. It tells you your top 3 emotions for the month. It tells you your stress scale. It even shows you a stress timeline. So maybe 1 week during the month you were highly stressed, and then maybe it balanced out, or maybe you'll find that your stress level's just been increasing over time. It's a really good way to monitor yourself. And you can do a psychological profile on yourself, and it goes through something called the Big 5 and looks at your strengths and weaknesses, romance, social life, your work and career prospects. It's very, very good. And it also has courses that you can do to improve self-esteem and so on and so forth. And today's talk is going to be based on the self-esteem path. It's called they have what's called learning paths, and today the talk is going to be about the self-esteem ones, and I'm going to try and do a podcast for each of the steps of the self-esteem learning path. So obviously it's going to be based on what I read, what I understand, and how I interpret it, but it will be different for you. But I'm going to try and draw out the main key points and bring them to you in the podcasts. So without any further ado, let's look at negative thought patterns. So there are 4 main negative thought patterns that you need to be aware of. 1, lecturing yourself, saying things like, I should have done this, I should have done that, I could have done this, I shouldn't have done that. These are very negative phrases, if you like, or prefixes to things. So when things go wrong or things don't go right, I should have done this, I should have done that. Immediately, even if you're driving and let's say you missed the turn, I should have turned there. That is one negative reinforcement. It may seem very small, but like successes, the negative build-up and the build-up of a negative self-image is incremental. You don't get to a full-on, fully blown negative self-image with low self-esteem overnight. It's incrementally built up through a series of small negative thoughts or words or beliefs about yourself. And that leads me on to the second one, which is calling yourselves names. When you do something wrong, I'm so stupid, I'm such an idiot, I'm so dumb, I'm useless. These very flippant comments that we make about ourselves, again, they negatively reinforce these negative feelings about ourselves, and again add to the increments of building a negative self-image. The third one is that we always tend to assume the worst possible scenarios and ignore other possible contributing factors to situations, to the point where sometimes we haven't even partaken in the thing that we're thinking about yet. Oh, I'm not going to go there because the last time I done something like that, it all went wrong and I flopped and and nah, not going to do it. And ignoring the fact that, hey, this is a different scenario, this is a different set of people, this is a different environment, this is a different building. I see it all the time. I deal with it every day, especially with the young people that I meet. I was referring to the adults, but the young people that I meet always, all right, guys, today we're going to be doing, no, sir, no, I'm not doing that. I've done it before, flopped it, it was terrible, no, I'm not doing that. I remember one time I was taking the students to the park. We had a free session. I was like, all right, let's go down to Lloyd's Park. We'll take a basketball, and one student was adamant he wasn't going. This student was so adamant that he wasn't going to go that while we were walking down to the park, he hopped on the bus. he literally ran away, hopped on the bus and went home. And when I called his mum to tell her that he'd left, he was knocking on the front door, and she was like, hang on, I think that's him. She opens the door and starts like having a go at him, obviously. But that's how adamant he was about not going to the park. And the next day when I saw him, I was like, why did you do that, man? And he was like, oh, like when I was younger, I used to go to the park a lot. But then like things happened at the park and other things. He's like, from then on, I've never been back to a park again. And it was mad because I was saying to him, you love going to the park, like you're an active kid, you love playing, but because of this previous experience at a park in a completely different area, like you're not coming to the park with us anymore. You're with a different set of people, all sorts of other contributing factors that I tried to show him, but he just wasn't interested in it. Anyway. We're past that now. So yeah, we always tend to assume the worst possible scenarios. And that just, again, it reinforces our negative thoughts and feelings about ourselves. Oh, the last time I went there, I flopped. Oh, the last time I was in a relationship, it went bad. The last time and I'm guilty of it too. 100%, man. I'm somebody, I base a lot of my actions and the things I think and do and believe off of past experience, and a lot of the time we don't have much more than our own experiences to go on, but sometimes our experience are not accurate of what the future holds. They're not accurate indicators of what possibilities lie ahead. The fourth one is we tend to undermine our abilities and believe that nothing we do is going to work out in our favor. Again, it comes back to previous experience and reinforcing those negative previous experiences. Oh man, I tried to start up a business once and it flopped. I lost all my money, so there's no way I'm going to do this. Or someone says to you, oh, you know what, here's a tip for an investment, and you're like, no. I tried to invest one time before, and mate, lost all my money. Never do that again. Never be burnt again. Never work out. I'm just not lucky like that. Everyone else is lucky like that, not me. And then you get stuck. Not trying anything new, not doing anything, not really progressing anyway because you're too afraid to try something new in fear that it will fail like always. And you ain't got the skill to do it, and you ain't got the talent to do it. So think of a time that you questioned your self-worth and ask yourself, did you use any of those negative thought patterns? And if you did, ask yourself, did you notice them at the time? Did you notice yourself using them at the time? Chances are you didn't even realize. It was just a natural instinctual reaction to say, oh man, I'm so stupid. Oh, this won't work out. Oh, I've tried it before. Should have done this instead. Natural reaction. But it's important that you become aware of when you're falling into those patterns. Because that's the beginning of changing them. Becoming aware of when you're doing certain things is the first step to making a change. I talked about it in episode 7 a little bit. I talked a little bit about some people are so deep in denial about what they really want and what they're really about, so on and so forth, that they don't ever make the first step to saying, yes, actually I want this, actually I want to be this, I want to do that. Well, similarly, you need to also be aware and accept the places where you're not going right, you're not doing right. Some people are so in denial of their mistakes, denial of their shortcomings, that they don't make any progress. They don't want to know where they're messing up, and they don't want to be told it either. But again, you got to take that first step, man. Awareness is the first step. So like, let's think about why our thoughts tend to be more negative, right? And there's a little kind of metaphor here. So imagine, right, you're inside your house, day off, and it's like blazing summer outside, and you're like, boom, I'm gonna go outside. You get ready, everything like washed, dressed, smelling good, blah blah blah. You got somewhere to go, or you just want to go out for a walk even. And then you step out the house, and then it's so bright. First thing you do is you put your arm in front of your face, you put your hand in front of your face, and you block out the sunlight from your eyes. It's natural, it's instinctual. You want to block out the light, because when you block out the light, you stop yourself from being blinded, and it gives you time to adjust to the light and see things a bit clearer. But for a time, you're blocking out all the light. In a lot of situations where something highlights, yeah, a mistake that you've made and makes you question your self-worth, instinctually, just like the way you put up your arm, put up your hand to block out the sunlight, you put up your defenses and block out everything that's coming in. And that gives you some time to adjust, quickly think, and you know, say to yourself, oh man, I'm messing up. Why am I messing up? What am I doing? I should have done. And that's you blocking out everything. But the problem is you're blocking out all the light, and you're sending yourself into a period of darkness unnecessarily. Yeah. So when you quickly put up those defenses and you start blocking out everything, including positive input that's coming, allowing yourself to see everything, giving yourself time to adjust to the light without blocking out the light. That's the key thing. Yes, it's going to be blinding, but you know what? You can't just block it out and be blind. Because in that moment of blindness, you're going to miss something that's coming towards you. You're going to miss something that you should have grabbed onto. You're going to miss something. You're going to miss. And you know what? A lot of the time, the things that you're going to miss are the things that are going to turn it, whatever is happening around, to a positive. Also, when you're blocking out light, all you're allowing in is the darkness. So all you can do in the darkness is grab onto things in the dark, grabbing onto the wrong things. Imagine you close your eyes and walk around your house. I guarantee you're gonna be reaching out, grabbing onto something to hold, something that's familiar, trying to find and feel your way around. You're gonna drop stuff, you're gonna stub your toe, a whole heap of stuff. That's what it's like when you start putting up those immediate defenses when you mess up. You're going to be grabbing around for the first thing that comes. And 9 times out of 10, the first thing that comes is going to be something negative. First thing that comes is a negative thought, a critical self-thought. It's important to understand that stuff that we're quickly grabbing onto in the dark, again, adds to the incremental build-up of low self-esteem and negative self-image. And some people might say, you know what, like, I'm really critical of myself. I'm a perfectionist. It pushes me, it drives me. But you need to understand that is not the same as self-reflection. Because people who are genuinely making progress in self-development and improving themselves are analytical and critical of their behaviors and so on and so forth. But they do it in a self-reflective manner. They're not doing it in the heat of a failure, the heat of a mistake, and grabbing on, like I said, in the dark, to these negative, critical ideas that come in straight away. They allow the situation to progress and to end however it's going to go. It really depends on the situation. Some will take longer than others. And then once it's all over and they have time to themselves to really recount what's happened, reflect on their actions, the way that they handled the situation, then they say, okay, you know what? I didn't handle that too well. Next time I'm going to do this. They make sure that they're aware of where they went wrong. Imagine you had a friend that failed their driving test and they were feeling down about it. Like, you were waiting for them in the car park and they come back and you're excited because they're about to pass their driving test and they're going to drive you home for the first time. And they come back, and as they come back to the car park, you see their heads low. They're not smiling. The driving invigilator is like not looking too pleased and putting crosses on the checklist or whatever. And they come out and they're like, I failed. Would you start saying straight away, yeah, well, I bet you weren't checking your mirrors. I bet you didn't use your indicators. And I've seen you driving around. Like, no wonder you failed. And continue criticizing their driving. You wouldn't do that. Because you know that when somebody's in the midst of failing at something that they want to do or something that they're trying to be, and they come to you to talk about it, or you're their friend and you want support, and they want support, you know that at that moment, even though you may even know, you know what, they probably didn't use their mirrors, they probably didn't, you don't hit them with that. You say, you know what, don't worry, man, next time you'll get it. Where did you mess up? Okay, you didn't signal. Man, next time, you know what you got to do next time then. But what did you pass on? Okay. So you were using your handbrake, or you did well on the parallel park. Yeah, man, smacked it, because parallel park's hard, And then you try and give them a little positive in it. The same way you do that for your friend, and you wouldn't just jump in and start tearing them down for failing. You need to do that to yourself. Instead of telling yourself straight away, you messed up, man, you failed, did it, just like, wait, hold on, man, where did I go right though? Okay, I need to do more of that. See, immediately being critical can sometimes fuel the fire of wanting to pass or wanting to succeed or whatever it is straight away and in the short term, but at the same time, it's going to damage your self-esteem. If you go and tell your friend, yeah, you weren't checking your mirrors, that inside them, there's going to be some anger, there's going to be some determination that gets fueled. You always hear people say, yeah, man, my teacher said I'd be nothing. My teacher said I'd be a failure. Look at me now. Take that, Mr. Whatever. Take that, Miss blah, blah, blah. But on the journey to that success, that child, that young person was dealing with some self-esteem issues. some negative negative image issues, because that teacher or that parent or that whoever said, no, you're not going to amount to nothing, you're not going to be nothing. And yeah, it fueled their desire to be something. Of course it did. But at the sacrifice of their self-esteem. And you know what? Those stories are very few and far between. There are more people suffering from negative self-image issues because they were so critical to themselves immediately, so critical to their selves after the first failure. And we're not all to blame, we're not wholly to blame for that. There's always people around us contributing to that. But that's why it's so important to make sure that you are always speaking positively about yourself. I made a post about it on Insta today. Positive self-talk is such an important factor in helping us to stay positive even when other people have nothing positive to say. If you rely only on the positive affirmations from other people to boost you up, to keep you up, to let you know that you're doing good and that you are worthy, man, you are gonna pay the price. You're gonna pay the price, man. It all starts with you. And then you get a couple negative comments and negative things from people, and it's like, all right, that's just your opinion. It's not what I think of myself. And then you can brush it off and keep it moving. You're not gonna make yourself better by telling yourself how bad you are, how much of a failure you are. That's not the way. You know, it reminds me of a theory that I use in teaching, and it's a strategy based on a theory by someone called B.F. Skinner, and he called it the positive reinforcement theory. So positive reinforcement fairy, she just comes along and dusts you with positive affirmations. Positive reinforcement theory, where instead of focusing on punishing negative behavior, instead you reward positive behaviors, and that encourages, in this case, the learners to do more of that behavior. Yeah, so it's important for us to positively reinforce our own positive behaviors. Yeah. And we really need to limit punishing ourselves for negative ones. That's negative reinforcement. A lot of people try and make themselves better by negative reinforcement. So coming down harder and harder on themselves for failures. I've done it. I'm so guilty of it. But it doesn't help in the long run, because now not only am I dealing with these failures and whatnot, I'm also feeling like shit because I don't rate myself now. Such a waste, man. Done it again, flopped again, failed again, messed up again. Gotta do better. Come on, you need to pattern up, you need to fix up. Come on. It's like adding more layers for you to dig your way out of. So you gotta reinforce those positive behaviors, man. Small successes, reward yourself. Small changes you make, yes, praise yourself. Man, I actually smacked it. I'm actually doing quite well. Look at things you've created. Look at work you've done. Look at successful things you've achieved. Look at relationships that are doing well. This is working actually. I'm doing good here. I'm doing good there. Actually, you know what? This is working. I'm doing well at this. And focus on them. Focus on reinforcing those positive behaviors, those positive actions, those positive words that you're speaking. Cultivate a habit of only thinking about those things. And it doesn't mean don't have any discipline and go and lose yourself. Doesn't mean that. Of course, be aware of where you're failing. Be aware of your shortfalls, to make sure that you're not falling into those patterns. It just means being aware of where you've failed, fallen short, and actively working at changing them by focusing on the positives, the wins, the achievements. And that's going to be different for everyone. Where I fall short and fail and need to pattern up, and where I'm succeeding and doing well is going to be different from you. So my rewards are going to be different to yours. So it's up to you to work out what you need to be rewarding yourself for, and what you need to be working on. So maybe start by identifying your negative thought patterns and understanding how and when you begin to speak and feel negatively about yourself. Think back, like I said to you at the beginning, think back to a time where you kind of messed up, and think about the thoughts you thought about yourself, what you told yourself, and understand how you got to that point. What made you say that about yourself? What was actually happening? What were you doing? So start there. Identify your negative thought patterns about yourself. And then be aware of when you're blocking out the light from coming in. Instantly go into the, I flopped. I'm not trying anything new. No, that don't work for me. No. Blocking out the possibilities. Because there's always another perspective. There's always another way to see things. As long as you're not making the darkness your only light. It reminds me of a couple of Bible verses. And I've made a note of them here. One of them is Luke 11:34. And it says, your eye is the lamp of your body. When your vision is clear, your whole body also is full of light. But when it is poor, your body is full of darkness. That's mad, isn't it? What you let in is what determines what's inside. Seems obvious. Second verse is Matthew 6:23. And it says, but if your eyes are unhealthy, your whole body will be full of darkness. If then the light within you is darkness, how great is that darkness? If the light within you is darkness, imagine that. The only light within you is darkness. That's why when you're blocking everything out, all that's growing is what grows from darkness. And that's not the same as what can grow in darkness, yeah? Because we all know that seeds go down into the darkness and grow, yeah? But the light is shining on them in the darkness. And they're coming up and out through the darkness to the light. When you're blocking out the light, when the seed's in the darkness and then you're blocking out the light, the seed can't find its way to the light and grow out. That's why you got to remove that barrier, remove those blocks, take the hand away from your face. The sunglasses off of your eyes, whatever it is. These are all metaphors, obviously. And, let the light shine. All right, today is quite a short one. But I hope it's definitely been insightful and interesting, at least. Definitely comment if you're on a platform that allows you to comment. Share if you know somebody it might help. And subscribe on the YouTube, subscribe on the Patreon if you can. And I look forward to speaking to you in the next podcast. Peace.